Hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to do a quick video on my Heliamphora and show some of the progress it's been making since I divided them a few months back. Before I get started, I wanted to show off my grow tent that I'm using. This is the VivoSun, I believe it's the 3-in-1. It has 3 different chambers Alright, so I'm gonna just pause it right here. So initially when I created this video, it was only to show the progress of my Heliamphora since I divided them a few months back. But as I began making the video, I started going into the setup of my grow tent and how I like to grow these plants. I realized as I'm editing it now that that's going to take up a huge portion of this video, which was not my intent when I first came up with the idea for making this video here. So you'll have to forgive me for that. I will put in a timestamp of where I actually talk about the progress that the plants have been making. It'll be a shorter portion of the video, so I'll just put the time and just leave it on the screen. Alright, so we're going to unzip the grow tent and talk about my setup just a little bit. Alright, so you're going to have to forgive me a little bit. We're going to be in a backlit situation because the lights are extremely bright in here versus the lights in my basement. Alright, so this 3-in-1 tent comes with 3 chambers. Like I said, this is going to be the upper chamber just on one of the smaller little side compartments. This is where I grow my Heliamphoras and Nepenthes. I'll show you just down here at the bottom. This is the third area here. So I'll just keep my humidifier down here. But let's talk about some of the setup here, and I'll try and get a little bit closer as I sort of describe what's going on. So the main thing I wanted to optimize here was the humidity, the moisture, and lighting. I'm trying to replicate all that and sort of separate it from how I grow my Venus flytraps, which is just on the other side over there. So as you can see here, we'll back up a bit. So I use some basically plastic wrap or tarp, I don't know, I found it on Amazon, and I velcroed it just to the top and bottom here. And I did that to basically help it contain some of the humidity inside this little grow chamber. Even though I zip up the tent whenever I'm not in here, I wanted to use just an extra barrier just to sort of help it retain that humidity. So it's going to be on both sides here. So on this opposite side, there's also another layer of that same plastic that's been velcroed on there. I'm using 2 now of the Barina 30-watt grow lights. So my Nepenthes like this light. It's not too much for them. It's doing really well for them. So it's not super strong, so I'll keep monitoring them and move them accordingly. As far as my Heliamphoras, they like this light. I wanted to get something a little bit stronger because I was growing them with my VivoSun 100-watt A100, I believe it was. I was using that light for it, but since I wanted to grow it in this chamber with higher humidity along with the Nepenthes, I sort of had to switch them up and put them in here in this chamber with them. To sort of combat that, as you can see, I have the A400, VivoSun A400 grow light just right here. I use that for my plants on the opposite side being like my Venus flytrap, some of my sundews, things like that. I think this light is way too strong for the Nepenthes, so you see this black tarp just behind the fan here. There we go. So that black tarp is a 90% sunshade, so I have it just on the side here as I pan down to where my Nepenthes are at, so it blocks that light from panning over and exposing them to that light, because I believe it's way too strong. But I have it open on this side here, just so I can give some more light to my Heliamphoras. So, and just in front of that, I have my little mister here. Come from the top. All right, just right here. So that will rain some water, or sprinkle, rather, some water onto my Heliamphoras. I think it goes for about a minute every 2 to 3 hours, something like that. So it gives them that nice rain that they're used to in the wild, in the mountains of Venezuela. At least according to my research. So the other thing I did was I bought a VivoSun humidifier. So it holds about a gallon or so. And I have it routed to where it gives these guys some nice humidity. Since I live in Colorado, it's constantly going, and I'm constantly having to put some distilled water in here every day. But it keeps it at about 90%. Obviously, it's going to stay on right now because I have the grow tent open, so all the humidity is leaking out of it. But I have it here with my Heliamphoras. I want them to basically be exposed to the humidity first, and then as it pans out or spreads throughout the tent, it'll give my Nepenthes some humidity as well. And like I said, I have it set for 80 to 90% humidity right now, so I believe that's optimal for them. So one of the drawbacks with this setup that I currently am running, at least with the mister, is that on the bottom here there's a lot of water. So from what I researched about these Heliamphoras is that they like the rainwater, but they like the drainage, and they don't like to be sitting in water all the time. So that's something I have to combat and vacuum out of there. I have a wet, dry vacuum, so I have to basically get that out of there pretty frequently, and I haven't done that in a while, so I'll be taking care of that. Alright, so now I got that water out of there. I'm going to go ahead and take these plants out and just check on them. I believe there's some traps that I need to get rid of on here. On at least the ones I've divided, I need to get rid of some of the traps and just clean it up a little bit. So I'm going to get these guys out of this tent, take them upstairs, and see what we can clean off to try and see how they're looking, at least, and give you guys an update on their progress. Okay, so here we are in my kitchen with all of my Heliamphoras. The 7 plants on this side are going to be mainly the ones that we're focusing on as far as tracking some of their progress and growth. The one on the right here, I'll put the name of it here in a second. This one was a plant that I had not divided just yet. I'll get this guy out the way. I haven't divided this one just yet, but it's going to be close to that time here soon. It's got some really nice traps on it. Not seeing too much burn, maybe a couple of spots here. And again, I'm not sure if that's burn or something I need to be concerned about. I don't believe so. But the pot, maybe it's starting to get to the point where it's flexing. But I think I have a couple of months still on this one. But this will be something I just need to keep on my radar for dividing here soon. But let's go ahead and get rid of some of these, at least some of the baby traps here, or juvenile pictures just all along this side here. I'm going to try and do this one-handed and keep it in the camera view. Maybe not. So that looks okay for now. I'm going to leave it just like this. I don't want to do too much to it. Have me accidentally cutting any of the current pictures or new growth that's trying to come in. So I'm going to leave it the way it is for now. Okay, so here goes my other Heliamphora. Again, all 7 of these were divided in my last video a few months back when I did that one. I'm not sure how long ago that was. But here goes the mother plant, basically the main plant that I made all those divisions from. When I divided it, this plant here, the plant started growing off just to the side because there was no room, I'm assuming. So I'm not really sure. So you can see some of these darker ones here are really off to the side here. I believe that's just because it was running out of room. It was flexing this pot fairly decently, so we got it out and made, as you can see here, all 7 divisions. Or I guess 6 with the main mother plant here. So with that, I want to get rid of some of these older traps. Get these guys out of the way. Actually, let me look at the other ones before we do that, because I don't want to bore you guys with showing me cutting a whole bunch of older traps. So let's look at some of these divisions here. So here goes one division. That juvenile pitcher plant or pitcher will need to go along with this one here. These couple of older ones are still doing well, and it looks like I had at least 2 new pitchers forming off of since I divided them, and maybe one coming off just right here. So, looks well. Looks like it's doing well. So, we'll just cut off those couple of ones on this guy here. So, we'll set that to the side and move on. This round pot here. This one, I don't think I've seen much growth on this one. So, still monitoring it and seeing if maybe I did something wrong with this division here. Not really sure. Maybe this guy here is a new... Maybe that one is a new picture. It's a little bit of a lighter shade of red, so I can tell these ones are older because of the way they're sort of leaning over to the side. So maybe this one is a new picture and I just didn't notice it. But I'll continue to monitor it. It doesn't look like it's dead, so I'll just monitor it and see how it progresses. Let's stick in the back here with this one. So this one was another division. This one grew 3 since I repotted it. But a couple of the juvenile pictures just on the bottom here, I'll have to cut off. And I'm not sure if it was growing these pictures when I divided them or why they are sort of growing. This picture is grown off a little bit towards the side, and this one is a little bit too. So I don't know if I can put any kind of bands around them to help them stay upright. Let me know if you've done that and if you had any success with doing that and getting the pictures to grow more upright. If that's the case, then maybe I can just tie something around it and have it grow upright. But it's still doing well. So, nice color on it. And actually, I will have to... Doesn't look like there's any water in this one, so I'll have to maybe fill it up. I'll move it further underneath that sprinkler. Let's look at this one here. This one was one of my bigger divisions. These 3 pictures, I believe, were older and were from when it was, or they at least grew when it was still with the mother plant. So I don't think it had room to grow, so it grew off to the side here. With this one, I believe there's only been this one picture here in the center. But I could be wrong. It could be... I don't think it's these 3, because I think it would have been more green or greener or a lighter shade of red. But I believe this one in the middle is a new picture. So I will, again, monitor this one and maybe get some more water in some of these pictures here. So it looks like it's a little dry in there. So we'll get some water in each of these pictures. On that one, let's go to this guy here. This one only has one single picture that appears to be new since the division. All these other ones were juvenile pictures that were still pretty much alive. So I'll cut off some of the, just a few of the ones that turn brown just here at the bottom, and just leave everything else. But we'll monitor this one as well, just to see why it's a little bit slower growing than some of the other ones. Last but not least, this guy here has a, obviously it's got this green one, or lighter shade red and green, trapped right in the center that's growing, or picture that's growing right in the center. So this one's doing well. It's also got this older picture that's sort of grown upright that's in there. So I don't think there's anything wrong with this one. Not much to remove, maybe just that guy there, and a couple of these guys here. But again, we'll have to add some water in some of these pitchers. So let me get started with getting rid of some of these dead traps and getting some water in these pitchers, and then I'll put this back in a grow tent. I'll fast forward this part, that way you guys don't have to sit there and be bored watching me cut off these dead traps. But this is my current setup, so if you have something different, something similar, you guys have any ideas on how I can make this more of an optimal growing arrangement for these guys, feel free to let me know in the comments so I can hear your ideas and adjust accordingly. Thanks for watching. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe to the channel, and like I said, give me your tips on growing these Heliamphoras or any other carnivorous plants that you guys are growing. So thanks for watching,